Welcome back another week with Antonio. This week we're going to actually look and do a real world simple project using S3 and AWS. So we're going to deploy a simple static website. I'm going to deploy a website that I did a while back. I'm just going to do the HTML side of the website. We're going to deploy that so that you can get a look at how all this stuff works. But we're going to go through the details of it. We're going to deploy it. We're going to do all that great stuff. Sit back, relax, and I'm going to show you how this is done in the simplest way I know how to do it. But before we get to it, make sure you like this video. Make sure you share it. Let me know in the comment down below. Are you using AWS S3? Have you tried AWS S3? I would like to know your thoughts. Let's get straight into it. So as we straight into the browser, this is AWS console. So we are on the home page here, and you can see all these little tabs. I'm not going to really go into all that. This video is going to be about launching a static website in S3, and this is kind of the configuration of it. I'm not going to really read into all that, but we may go back and check on some references for some things if we miss any steps. But let's back over here on the home page right here on the console. So if you did want to launch a website or a static website, you can use Route 53 also to get your domain name. We're not going to do that. We're going to use what they have present currently in S3, and we'll do that. But the Route 53 will allow you to launch domain names, register domain names, all that great stuff. Your hosting, all that stuff, you can look into this and you can do all that here. We're not going to do that in this video, maybe in a later video. But let's keep it simple, plain, and straight to the point. Let's launch a S3 bucket. First, we're going to have to go into the AWS cloud platform, and we have to go through S3. You can actually type S3 in here also if you don't see it, and then you can click on it and it'll open. But we want to create a bucket. That's going to be the starting point. We're going to do general. You have to name your bucket. Your bucket does have to be unique. It has to be a unique name, and it tells you your bucket name must be unique. So if there's something that is similar in the system, it will not allow you to use that bucket name. But we're going to do something simple. We're going to name it My Simple Site. Let's do that. Now yours will have to be unique to you, but we're going to do that. General, we're going to keep that the same. We're going to keep that the same. This right here, eventually we'll unblock all that, but we're going to keep it blocked for now. This right here keeps you private. You know, once you uncheck that, it becomes public. So, but we're blocking all public access right now. And we're going to keep all that the same. We're not going to change none of that. We have some advanced settings, but we're not going to do nothing with that. So we're going to create our bucket. So now we have our bucket. And I have done other buckets, but we're just going to focus on my simple site right now. So we have a lot of configurations that we will have to do. But first, I just want to, quick and simple, I'm just going to upload my file. I'm just going to go ahead and do that, get that out the way. And what we do is add file here. This is going to be an HTML file. So let's go to development and let's look for a file here on one of these websites. I'm going to go to CryptoCave info site, and we're going to upload this index.html right here. That's what we're going to use. And we're going to just go ahead and upload that. Now there's many people do it many different ways and different steps and to make this work, but that's kind of where I'm going to start at with mine. Let's go back to properties. Well, let's go to properties. We haven't went in properties yet. We're going to go into properties, and we're going to go down to static website hosting. We're going to edit that, and we're going to enable that, and we're going to host a static website, and we're going to put our index.html and error.html. I just always put them two. You can do a redirection if you wanted to. You can also redirect here, but we're not doing that in this video right here. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to save that. Save them two right there. And we can see this is our domain name that we'll need eventually when we launch it. And we go here, we can see that it gives us an error. So there's a few steps we have to do to get this up and live, but we're going to do that in just a second. So let's go back up to permissions. Let's look at our permissions real quick. We have to unblock all permissions, and we also have to create a bucket policy. So we have to do both of them to make this go live. So a few things I would like to do first. I would like to get this bucket policy. And there's different ways of doing this. You can go to Google. Let's do it like this. Let's go to Google. You can go to Google and you can type in AWS static website S3 CloudFront. And you can click on the documentation, and if you scroll down, you'll see the policy somewhere in here. So we're going to click on AWS. So we're going to click on AWS documentation. Make sure it's the Amazon S3 on Google. So we're going to go to Google. We're going to type in AWS static website S3. And we want to get so we'll do here, configure the static website, and that should be in here. So we have our bucket policy right here. So this is what we want to copy. So you want to copy that bucket policy right there, and we want to come back here and we want to edit this policy. So we're going to paste this in here, this bucket policy, but we have to get our bucket name, and our bucket name is, you should see it right here. So we're gonna have to change this. We have to delete this part right here, and we have to input our bucket name there. So I have ASJ my simple site. So ASJ my simple site, that is what you have to put there. Change that, and we're gonna have to save this. And you may, if you get an error, they have this where you can diagnose it, and this shows that. So the good thing about AWS and the diagnostic, it gives you your error, and then it explains what you did wrong and how to fix it. So we're going to fix this issue based on what they have given us. So we're going to come up here. We don't need this, so let's delete this. Effect allow, we want to keep that. We want to keep the principal to all. We really don't need this, so let's get rid of that. This is really not needed. Bring that up. So we got an action S3 get bucket, so we do want that. And for resources, we can actually get rid of this too. Bring this up so it's easier to read. Delete that, and this should be better. Let's try it now. So it says their error does not have permission to add a bucket, grant access to public access. So I have to grant public access. So let's do that first. So let's go back, permissions, let's edit this. Let's give public access, firm. Now let's go back and do our bucket again. And we copied it, let's paste it in there. Let's change this to ASJ my simple site. And let's see if it works this time. So it does work now. So we did get our bucket policy up and running. We did get public access here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test the website. Let's see if it launches. And we have our simple website up. And you can see it here. Of course, this is not a very detailed. This is a simple static HTML website that we just launched with a little API in here. Not much, but we can see it did launch and it is effective. So that's pretty much how you do it. It's always good to also use Google as a reference to be able to look for things that you may have issues. Use Amazon while using AWS or whatever cloud platform you're using. Use Google and use them from more specific websites to be able to solve the problems. Most of them now today have some kind of AI built in that will help you also find solutions to your problem. And that's kind of what we went through to try to fix that issue that we had. But we did get the static website up. It is working. One other important note that I need to do is, since I showed you how to do that, but if you're not using these sites, and you need to always block public access. Don't leave it 100% open like that unless you're wanting it to be open to the public. So you always want to block the permissions and do that. So that's an important note to take note of. But we did block that and we should be good. But yeah, so always make sure you're optimizing, make sure you're doing everything according to the way that is explained and expressed within the platform and the ecosystem and all that great stuff. But this is Antonio. Hope that video was helpful. Hope you got something out of it. Next week we'll come to you and do another little project to help you understand cloud computing and launching cloud products. See you next week.